Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm Cyrus Webb. Glad you all can be with us. For those that are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X, we're glad to have you all with us. We're about to connect with our friends over on Amazon as well, because we have two very special guests that are returning to our broadcast today. So this is a very special occasion, and we're live right now on Amazon Live. We appreciate you guys being with us on Amazon. If you guys are new to our broadcast, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You see it here in this corner or down below. You also will see some of the books by one of our next guests, and we have two. We get a two for today. We're excited to welcome back Dr. Bruce and Dr. Velma Bagby to our broadcast. We're going to talk to them not only about their milestone they're celebrating this year, 51 years of marriage, but also, if you guys did not know, they also are the subject of this book you guys see highlighted on Amazon. My Seven
Look at those kids.
Wow.
You all can be able to get it right now for 99 cents on Amazon. We're going to talk to Dr. Bruce about what it's like for him to lose that pro, but also wait for them to inspire others too. Dr. Bruce, Dr. Velma, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you for having us.
Look, I appreciate you all being brave enough to come back.
Oh, it was brave.
Really?
Look, Dr. Bruce, I want to begin with you. Again, it's good to speak with you again. I spoke with you last year on Amazon here on our broadcast as you all were celebrating 50 years of marriage.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you, Dr. Bruce, to be able to reflect on these last 51 years with Dr. Velma?
It's been exciting. I can I can mention that. No, it's really good being married to to Dr. Velma. I must say, it is. And the reason why I can say that is because when you come up, grow up, and you see your parents, their marriages, and people in your family, their marriages. I mean, I have to say my marriage is excellent.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Velma, you are literally out there front and center. You wrote the book, literally, about the two of you. What has it been like for you as you're celebrating 51 years of marriage?
It's exciting. Sometimes it's difficult to say that number because it's really hard to digest. Really, we've been married that long?
Yeah.
Now add to that how long we've known each other. If we go back to being 16, that adds time as well. So it's just such a blessing. For me, I see it as a blessing. God has honored us and blessed our marriage. We didn't do it by ourselves.
No.
I love that. Melissa says, I've never seen you guys live together. This is awesome. Well, then Melissa didn't watch our show last year, did she, Dr.?
No, she didn't. She just revealed it.
She's telling off on herself. Melissa, I had them on for their 50th anniversary. Thank you very much. I think this is so interesting. Now, I look at my parents and look at them together, and I think about how, I think a lot of times marriage has been kind of fantasized, for lack of better words, is that people think, oh, you're going to meet this person, the sky is going to open up and everything is going to be perfect. Dr. Bruce, I want to ask you, what has it been like for you in talking to guys to let them know that, yes, that lady, may seem like she's all that, but doesn't mean everything is going to be easy?
Well, it's not going to be easy. There are going to be some challenges, and when you work with the one that you love, I mean, you're willing to get past all those challenges that come before you. It's not the person that's causing it. It's just that you have to get, first of all, used to one another and the habits that one another have, and then you work from there.
Yeah, love that. Dr. Velma, what about for yourself? As you're talking, especially the young ladies, what has it been like for you to kind of get them to take off the rose-colored glasses and to realize the reality of what it means to be married and being committed?
Well, they keep having this vision of the guy riding in on the horse to swoop them up and live happily ever after Well, yeah, you can live happily ever after, but you have to choose what makes you happy. You have to choose that level of happiness that you want for each other. And so it's important to know that there's something you have to bring to the table too. You can't expect this person to come into your life and make everything beautiful for you. That's crazy. That's a fantasy. And so you have to really accept the reality that you must bring something to the table too. Don't expect that guy to come into your life, swoop you off of your feet, and expect to make you happy. You should be happy already, and you should bring that happiness together with him, and then together you build that life together.
Yeah. And we've gotten to know, Melissa's trying to clean it up now, Dr. Bama. She says, I think on the replay then. Wink, wink. That's what she said.
Okay.
So live. That's what she's saying now. Yeah. Thanks a
lot,
Melissa.
Okay, Melissa.
So speaking of that, Dr. Bama, let's let your words kind of tell the story. Because I have read my 70s love story that's available for 99 cents here on Amazon. And let's let the world see what Dr. Velma had to say.
Oh, yeah.
So this is what she wrote. My personal thoughts about the phone in-person versus app today. To be honest, I prefer the in-person contacts we enjoyed during the 70s. We learned much more from face-to-face contact and could immediately assess the person's character. For instance, in the 70s, a person could not hide behind someone else's computerized profile or disguise himself using a picture from the past. I can form my opinion and initial impression of his character up front. Talk to us about that, Dr. Velma, because I think, again, it goes to the world that we're living in today. What has it been like for you to kind of reflect on what courting and dating was like then versus what we're seeing today?
We see a lot of it even on some of the TV shows, these shows where you meet someone today and marry them in 30 days, 90 days, that kind of stuff. And that's pretty crazy to me. And again, we look at the things that don't matter. We think that if we swipe left or swipe right, we can meet someone and that person we're going to marry at some point. And what's sad about it is I met so many women who envision the person as their husband and haven't taken the time to really get to know that person and who they really are, and don't know for sure if that is the one for them. Some women fixate on a guy and they don't know that they may not be the mate for them. And so you have to accept that too, that God has a mate for you, then you have to wait for God to reveal that person. But I think we just use too many of those things that are not unnecessary. It's more of what you see versus what you discover about that person in their heart, which is what God says. He doesn't care what you look like. He's only concerned with the heart. And that's what we should be concerned with, looking at what is central to that person and their characteristics and those positive qualities we should discover. And we don't take the time to do that.
Yeah. Dr. Bruce, I'm going to have to put you on the spot for a second. Because, again, in the 70s love story, we find out that you were definitely paying attention to the hot pants and all. But, but
yes, he did.
Dr. Velma wrote this, and I love this part in the book. My husband appreciated the way I carried myself. I remember there were several girls after my husband in high school who followed him after campus. I assumed he was interested in them. He later explained it was their behavior that made them unattractive. I want to talk about that, Dr. Bruce, on a serious note. I didn't read the part about the hot pants, but they can see it.
Look, my husband said nobody walked like you in school. He said you just had this certain walk, and the hot pants really helped me to see that.
And look, and Earl says something very important: the hot pants matter.
Okay, Dr. Earl.
So, Dr. Bruce, I want to ask you about that because you were paying attention. Us guys, we get accused of not paying attention, right? What was it about Dr. Velma that you saw that made her different than the other girls?
For one, she wasn't, trying to draw me to her. She wasn't trying to get me to get her attention. In high school, in PE, the girls would all be out, on the field, on the track field, and they'd be, just talking to one another and looking to see if, who's looking at who. And, she was focused on what she was doing, and she wasn't paying attention to none of the guys that was, maybe out there looking at, because if she would have saw me in the bleachers. I was spying from the bleachers, just admiring her from the bleachers versus the other girls that were out there.
Yeah, I love that, and I love this book. If you guys have not read My 70s Love Story, you guys definitely have to get it. It's only 99 cents right now. The Kindle edition is on Amazon now. I know Dr. Velma is working on a print edition as well, but you guys can go ahead and catch up on the story now, the two of them. So, Dr. Bruce, I want to ask you another question, then go back to Dr. Velma, because you've seen the career she's had as an author now. I mean, she's come out of corporate. Now she runs her own company. What has it been like for you to see how she's been able to reach people through the books that she's writing?
I'm really excited for her because she's been able to reach, quite a few women, and some guys are following her on, in her book. And I just think she's doing an excellent job, and she's gonna get further.
Yeah. I totally agree. And she just got another honor. She just made another magazine cover. Dr. Velma, talk to us about that for you. What has it been like for you? I think a lot of times, and again, I cannot speak from experience here, but just some conversations I hear, that a lot of times things are always better when everyone has their own thing they're able to do. That they have something they can be able to do, and they can support them, but they're able to have their own. What has that been like for you, Dr. Velma, to have started this career and to be able to see the support that you're getting?
Well, the fact that you call it a career, Cyrus, is amazing to me because I never pictured it in that way. I know that I've done some things and accomplished some things, but to look back and see what I've accomplished, it's even amazing to me because I started out just trying to write one book, and it has advanced from there, including, all the other things that I'm doing now. So I'm just excited that it's happening. And so the fact that you said, this as a career, it still is shocking to me that what I've accomplished, the doors that God has opened for me has blessed my life, just knowing that I can hear from those who's read my stories and my books, and that they have been excited about the book and what they read. So I'm just excited that I can share some of the truth that I needed to share.
Love that. You say in My 70s Love Story, Dr. Velma, something that stuck with me. It's toward the end of the book. And it's such a great reminder, I think, for all of us, men and women. You say, I'm paraphrasing, but you say that we ask for what we want, but God gives us what we need. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about what that's been like for you, because you also talk about your list in the book. I mentioned earlier about Dr. Bruce and the hot pants, but you had your list too. What you were looking for too. But what has that been like for you to think about that latter part, that God gives us what we need?
Did you read that part where I was talking to God about it? After my husband became a pastor, we were standing in a circle. Everybody's heads were bowed and eyes were closed. And I'm talking to God saying, I'm looking down at my husband's feet. I said, God, now I had a list. I asked you for 6 feet. My husband's 5'9". And God, I asked you for bold legs, and you gave me somebody with slewed feet. And I said, God, you really have a sense of humor. So while everybody else is having their prayer, that's the conversation I'm having with God. God had his list. And so what would have happened if I rejected my husband at the time he approached me, because I didn't see what I had on my list? And that's what happens with us. We get too captivated over the things that we think we're supposed to have. I had to open up my heart because, like he said, I've seen him around campus, but I was focused on getting off of my mom's payroll. I was on my way to college after graduation. So I wasn't focused on finding anybody, but just the teacher told us to write the list. I wrote the list. But at the time, I did the very thing that many adults do today. Now, I was 16. Right. They write these kinds of things on there that doesn't make any sense. And what does his height have to do with how he's going to treat me? What does the shape of his legs or the shape of his feet have anything to do with how he's going to act as my husband? Has nothing to do with anything. Right. So that's why it's just crazy that over time I gave it a name: conditions versus characteristics. And so we look at conditions, and we shouldn't have conditions on our list anyway, because you don't know who God says is the perfect mate for you. And when they arrive, they won't look or act like what you thought, what you had envisioned, but God said, this is what I want for you. So That's what we have to keep our hearts open to.
So true. Such a great point. For those that are just tuning in, I see you guys over there on Amazon. Welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm joined by Dr. Bruce and Dr. Velma Bagby. We're talking with them about them celebrating 51 years of marriage. Longer than I've been alive.
Oh, wow.
And what it's been like for them to be able to not only to spend their lives together, but be an example for others. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about is about that part. Dr. Bruce, I'm going to begin with you because you are an example of what is possible. What has that been like for you to share with young men? Because I think a lot of times we're so quick to give up on things, right? What has it been like for you to share, especially with young men that you come in contact with, about what is possible when they find the right way?
Well, it depends on the person and what that person is looking for. Because a lot of young men are looking for this certain type of woman, and a lot of times they might have this characteristics, but there are different characteristics that they have that they're not looking for.
Right.
And so by the time they go and they find this woman and and have their relationship start, and all of a sudden they find out that they've just wasted a whole bunch of time because this woman is not what they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
I wanted to add to that, Cyrus, that my husband played a role in helping me to create some of the characters in the book, especially the Blue Book, She'll Tear Down the House. Because of his conversations with other men and some of the challenges they faced, he gave me some ideas to include in that book based on what he knew about some of the challenges the men were having. And that's how I created many of those characters and stories based on the conversation. He said, don't forget to say this and don't forget to address this. I said, okay.
And I'm going to highlight it for those, and I have mine here. I'm going to highlight for those on the Amazon side. You guys can get the Kindle edition for $4.99, or you can get the paperback here as well. Dr. Velma, I want to ask you a different question, because one of the things that you write about in She'll Tear Down the House, in The Wrong Catch, and even in this book, The Catch No One Wants, are about the warning signs. And we guys, we ignore them too. We let our egos get in the way and think, oh, I can handle whatever, yeah, I see that, but yes, maybe it's not, maybe she's not that crazy. You know what I'm saying? Or that kind of thing. How important is it for us to make sure that we are paying attention to the warning signs, Dr. Velma?
It is 1,000%, 100%, whatever percentage you want to put on it, it is absolutely necessary, because that's what you need to know. You need to know if you need to move any further, if you need to do anything else. And that's one of the reasons when my daughters began to apply some of the questions, I said, look, the problem we have is you guys don't ask any questions. That very first conversation and date, what's your intention in dating me? What drew you to me, basically? What's your interest in talking to me? And right away, they get answers that they needed to hear. And really, sometimes the behavior, stuttering around the question, the answer, and unable to answer the question very easily, gives you an answer too. And so that's what's so important to me, is that we don't take the time to do that.
Yeah. Melissa asked an interesting question. Melissa, this surprises me from Melissa. Melissa says, how old is too old?
I can't put a number on that at all. Because our lives and the way our lives have moved along, it's all within God's control and God's hand. And I've seen examples of people who got together later in life and have done wonderfully together, because you're seasoned. You know what to look for now. Some of them still don't pay attention to red flags. And as long as you have prepared yourself and become the mate that God has for that God wants for that person, because remember, God has an investment in that man too. And so therefore you have to present the best version of yourself to him. And that means getting rid of, which is why I talk about it, getting rid of the past hurts and experiences, because you don't want to filter your new relationship through what you've experienced in the past. And that can cause harm. And you don't realize that somebody perfect and wonderful can come into your life. But if you have not dealt with brokenness and issues in the past, you can cut that man up, cut his heart up with those behaviors that you still have. So I say there's no limit because God is still in control of it all.
So true. Such a great conversation. Let me say, and on a serious note, I've been having some fun with you all, but congratulations on 51 amazing years. And I'm so excited to be able to have a chance. Dr. Bruce, so glad you were brave enough to come back. Hope you'll come back again.
Once a year.
Right. Yeah, there you go. That's why.
Cyrus.
Look, that's why we can put exclusive on there, you know. So yeah, once a year, and when you come back next time, Dr. Bruce, the paperback will be out, so I can be able to hold my
It's hard
book.
to see those side by side.
I can be able to hold the book, but in the meantime,
Cyrus Elvis has left the building.
That's not
oh
right.
my goodness.
That's just a new hairstyle.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, look, congratulations to the two of you. Dr. Velma, let our audience know how to stay connected with you.
Sure, you can reach me on any social media platform as Dr. Velma Bagby. And please make sure you go to drvelmabagby.com and subscribe to my website as well as my YouTube. Looking forward to hearing from you and connecting with you.
All right, Dr. Bruce, Dr. Velma, thank you again. Congratulations to you. Melissa says congratulations to you both.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
And looking forward to our next chat together.
Awesome.
All right, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.